Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I read a book recently and it's called Magma. It's by Þóra Hjörleifsdóttir, and this book was originally written in Icelandic and was translated by Matich into the English version. And this was a short book, and I think I read it within 2 days, but I believe that you can totally read it within one sitting because it's really short. This book is interesting. It can be a very difficult book to read because in case if you are familiar with this book but have not read it, you might have heard about how some readers found certain parts of this book to be kind of disgusting. Certain parts of this book would feel kind of repulsive, but it's definitely triggering. So before I go further into this book, I just kind of want to say that if you're interested in reading this book, trigger warnings, it has a lot of details about abusive relationship, because that's what this book is about. It's about abuse, and there are also elements of self-injury, mental illness, pretty much anything that has something to do with self-harm is in this book as well. It contains a lot of sex and possibly, as per the reviewers who thought that this book is disgusting, some graphic portrayal of, or rather unfavorable portrayal of sex as well. So yeah, that's all I want to say about the possible triggers about this book. So Magma is a story about an abusive relationship, and it centers around this young woman named Lilja who lives in Iceland together with her boyfriend. A few details, few background about their story. Lilja is a person with a low self-esteem, and at the same time her boyfriend is someone who is pretty much a good-for-nothing douchebag. So you can see where this story is going, because of Lilja's low self-esteem. She's not really able to stand up for herself, and she's repeatedly mistreated by her boyfriend, who would continually cheat on her, and he would also emotionally, mentally, and physically abuse Lilja. But despite all of these, Lilja would also continuously internally defend the actions of her boyfriend. She would rationalize or justify why her boyfriend does those things to her, so that it wouldn't seem as if her boyfriend is such a bad person, and in fact maybe she was the one who is the bad guy in the relationship. And I feel that the way that this is written, this dynamics in the relationship is written, it is written in this like really crystal clear way. Like, it doesn't try to kind of mask this situation by using extremely flowery language. In fact, the writing is actually very straightforward. The writing is really snappy, and I guess you can instantly see what is really going on with the story with Lilja and her boyfriend, and how their relationship is developing, because it's really clear what is going on. And I feel that the way it is written does a good job in kind of showing you how certain kinds of abusive relationship can look like, because I feel that sometimes people can't really understand how this kind of relationship could exist. Like, how some people would think that if someone treats you bad, then you should be able to do the right thing. You could just leave them or whatever. Or maybe some people would think that this kind of relationship would not exist. But the way it is written in this like kind of no frill way, and it's just really clear. And I think that's a positive point of this book. Now, also about the writing style. Now, this book is written in this like really short chapters. Each of the chapters in this book are super short, and it is written, I think if I'm not mistaken, is through the perspective of a first-person narrative through the point of view of Lilia. And each of these chapters, they feel as if like there are separate entries of a diary. So there's this sense of this intimate feeling that you get with the protagonist of this book, and you get to feel with her. You can empathize with her situation. But at the same time, this book also, despite its non-flowery language, it is very evocative, but it does not evoke like the usual feeling of beauty or wonder, but rather it evokes the feeling, and might I add, an intense feeling of frustration, an intense feeling of anger, with pretty much nearly most of the main characters in this book, particularly Lilia and the boyfriend. You feel frustrated while reading this book because it feels like the character is stuck, not only because of her own external situation, but also because of her internal kind of like way to rationalize her circumstances. You also feel, of course, the obvious anger towards characters who just, the boyfriend who just treats the protagonist in this like really lousy way. And so for a very short book, I feel that it packs a lot of punch. Like, it is a very strong book for a very short book, so I think that is kind of fun. So yeah, I guess that's all I'm gonna say about this book. It's a really punchy book, but again, it can be a very difficult book to read. Now, one point that I would love to talk about is just the ending. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk more about that in this video because I don't want to spoil anyone with this video. But I love the ending. There is this kind of it goes back to its like diary-ish style, the form of this novel. It reminds you of that again. There's this this certain abruptness that feels like that there is this kind of urgency while you're reading this book because of how short it is, that it makes the book seems fast-paced, and then suddenly it just stops. And I feel that the way it ends is just so good. Like, could there be closure? Well, I don't know. I don't want to spoil anyone, but it feels abrupt, but at the same time, it's an effective kind of abruptness. I really like it. And also what that ending tells you about the protagonist, about Lilia's state of mind at that time, I think it is also quite brilliant, because there is something that feels very true to the way that this book ends, and how it relates to the actual situation, the possible actual situation that could happen in real life, especially when it comes to abusive relationships. So yeah, if you want to talk about the ending with me, feel free to do that in the comments or any other channels, through my socials or whatever. And yeah, I guess that's it. This book got 4 out of 5 stars from me, so yeah. And I'll see you again in a different one. So until then, take care, thanks for watching, and bye.